My name is Daniel Wynn, and by day I invest in sports cards, but by night I make videos about investing in sports cards. I am the great curator. Join me on my journey to break even in the hobby that we all love.
Hello everyone, I'm the Great Curator and welcome to my channel. If this is the first time that you guys are visiting, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. The reason I make these videos is for education. This is my fun and creative way to kind of give back to the community by sharing my opinions, my perspective, and my insight with you guys on these topics and issues that I'm discussing. It's my sincere hope that you guys will find value in these videos and continue to support this channel. This is also a way for me to kind of use the YouTube platform to spread my message of positivity and civility within the hobby. I believe that if we come together as a community and set a very high standard of conduct and civility that we hold each other accountable to, we will weed out all the bad actors that are currently trying to ruin our hobby, and we will be better off for it. We can be gentlemen investors, we can be lady investors, and we can do it very easily. All we have to do is just be kind, nice, respectful, and honest to each other. Super easy, guys. We should be doing these things anyways, but if we do it and we hold each other accountable to these standards, I believe that our community will be stronger, the hobby will grow, and the values of our cards will rise. So hopefully you guys will support this message. This is my mission statement. This is why I make these videos. Please support me. You can do that by subscribing, sharing, liking these videos, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Thank you. Okay guys, let's talk about today's topic, which is going to be a companion video to one I did a couple weeks ago where I talked about understanding parallels, color parallels within cards. This is going to be the companion video to that. This is going to be about understanding different gimmicks that the card manufacturers use in cards, specifically patches, autos, and numbers, okay? So this is understanding patches, autos, and numbers. Oh my, right? Okay, so let me talk to you guys about this, because there's these things are gimmicks, right? The manufacturers, they put these gimmicks into the card to create chase cards, to create demand, to create artificial rarity, all that stuff. And if you're not knowledgeable about the distinctions between each of them, because there's different levels, then you can easily get caught up and end up overpaying for some of these cards because you're confused about the level of the gimmick itself, right? And when I say gimmick, I mean like they just create these things, they put them into cards to make us all go crazy about them. All right. For example, let's talk about patches, right? They cut up little patches from game used jerseys or whatever, and they put the little patch onto the card, and that makes people go crazy for whatever reason, right? I don't know why. If you ask me, I'd rather have the whole jersey, right, instead of a little patch. But whatever, people love it for whatever reason. It's a gimmick. It makes cards more desirable for whatever reason. So that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, let's get into it. Let's kind of identify what these gimmicks are, talk about the different distinctions between each level of the gimmick. Then I'm going to tell you about how to value them based on a system that I've kind of developed, and then we'll close out, okay? All right, so let's talk about patches first. So if you're not aware what patches are, or jersey cards, basically, like I said before, the manufacturer will take a game-used jersey, not always game-used though, they'll cut it up into little tiny pieces, and then they will insert that little patch into the card itself. Those are called patch cards. The different levels and distinctions between those cards are going to be what you would, the first one, the highest value is going to be what we always assume to be is the game-used patch. That's the highest value, right? The player wears it in a game, and then the company cuts it up and they insert a game-used patch into the card. That's how they first came out when they first started doing this. But over the years, they have kind of got a little bit sneaky about that. So the next level below that, below game use, is what they call player worn. Okay, and this is a big distinction that people don't understand, especially if you're new to the hobby. Player worn is not the same thing as game used. Player worn can mean a lot of different things. It can mean that they wore it at a charity event. It can mean that they wore it at a photo shoot. It could mean that they put it on. I mean, this is a rumor, but like sometimes they say they'll put them on and then they'll take them off just for the purpose of saying they did that, right? So player worn does not hold the same level, the premium value as a game used, okay? Game used is up top, then player worn is down below. And really, to me, player worn is just like a gimmick that they add on to usually autograph cards or things like that, just to add a little bit of extra spiciness to the card, okay? So that is the second tier. all right, that you have to be aware of. Player worn. And the way that you can tell is you just turn the card to the back, you look at the very little tiny fine print that you need like a microscope to read, and it'll say either game used or it'll say player worn, okay? So keep that in mind, guys. Player worn does not hold the same value as game used, all right? And then the last level below that is what they call manufactured patches. This is where they just add a patch that they pull off of the rack and they add it to the card, excuse me, they add it to the card to make it look cool. This could be like a logo or something like that, or a letter or something like that. It was never worn by the player. It was never used in the game. It just makes the card look cool. All right. So that is the lowest tier of patch cards. All right. Next thing we're going to talk about is autograph cards. So autograph is exactly what it is. The player signs their name on it. That makes the card most desirable. That is probably the kind of gimmick that hold the most value, or that adds the most value to the cards. But there are different types of autographs, and there's distinctions that you have to understand, okay? The first one, the highest one, is going to be the on-card autograph. This is where the player actually has a card in his hand, presumably. He signs his name on the card, and he gives it back to the manufacturer. This holds the highest value because people, for some reason in their mind, people have kind of justified it that if the player touches the card, it adds more value to it because it has his DNA on it, whatever. I don't know. That's just what people say, but that definitely makes the card that adds the most value to it. Personally, I think it looks the nicest. Okay, when a player signs on the card, there's no restrictions from space or anything like that, and it looks the nicest for on-card auto. So those hold the most premium value. The step down below that is going to be what they call sticker autographs. This is where the player gets a sheet of stickers from the manufacturer. He signs his name on each of these stickers. He gives it back to the manufacturer, and then somebody who is putting the cards together will peel off the sticker and they will put it on there. The player never peels off the sticker himself. He just signs it and he sends it off. These are definitely a step down from on-card autos, and a lot of people in the community don't even like to collect these just because they're sticker autos. A lot of people have this kind of, you know, if you want to call it a snobby attitude or whatever it is, they just look down on the stickers, okay? The higher end collectors all look down on sticker autographs. So understand that the premium value drops significantly when it's a sticker auto. A couple reasons for that are the stickers, they kind of stand out, so they don't look as nice as on-card autos. Also, a lot of times the player will sign off of the sticker, so the autograph grade will not be as strong. So those are the main reasons why people kind of look down on stickers. Okay, and then the last level is going to be the facsimile autograph. This is where the manufacturers just print the signature on the card. It adds no premium value, guys, okay? But you have to be careful because sometimes they can make it look really good where it looks like a real signature. But it's not. It's just fake. It's printed on there. So always make sure that you can understand or notice the difference. And if you're confused, all you have to do is just look at the back of the card and it will say whether this is a real autograph or not, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. Also, another subcategory of that will be the grade of the autograph. If you get the cards graded, you will often try to get the signature graded also. So understand that if it's a 10 signature, it's the highest premium. If it's 9 or below, then it drops significantly, okay? And if it's 8 or below, then it's pretty much like you might not even get it graded, okay? If the signature is faded or whatever, or smudged, that's what affects the grade, okay? All right, the next thing that we talk about is gonna be numbered cards, numbers on the cards. This is where the manufacturer stamps a limited, a serial run of numbers on the card. They might say that this particular card, there's 200 of them in the world, okay? So they'll stamp the number, whatever number that card is. It could be number 1 to 200, and then a little slash, and then 200. That shows you the print run on those, okay? This is a way for the manufacturers to create artificial rarity in the cards by saying that there's only a limited number of these cards printed, and people will chase that, right? Obviously, the lower the number of the cards, the better. I've seen them anywhere go from as high as like 5,000 down to 200 to 100 to 50 to 25 to 10, even one-of-one cards, which is a subcategory which I'm about to speak to, okay? So the lower the number of the card, the better, obviously. But just understand this about these number cards. Oftentimes, if you see like a number from like 1 to 99, for example, What these companies do now is they'll do a series of that card in different colors. So they'll do like one color would be gold, for example, right? And that could be like numbered to like 199. Then they'll go to like green, and that will be numbered to like 25. And then, you know, whatever, red, that will be numbered to like 10. So they'll take the same card, but they'll just put like a different outline on it and lower the number run, and that will in theory make it more rare. Just understand that that's all a gimmick, guys, okay? So, you know, if you want whatever one you want to go after, you can, but just understand that just because there's that one series, there could be almost an identical series out there, just a different color. And that, in my opinion, that does affect the rarity of those cards. Speaking to that point, let's talk about one of ones real quick here. Another thing that these companies they'll do is they'll produce what they call one of one cards, which means that there's only one single card of that. They'll number it, and you know that there's no other cards just like that in the entire world, right? And most people would think one of one cards are the rarest of them all. Unfortunately, the manufacturers, like they've been doing the last couple of years, they've overdone it. They've overdone the one of one. They've taken the specialty, the rarity out of it, and they've made it kind of like a novelty, right? They may make a specific one of one in one series, but then they'll make like several different one of ones in that same series in that same year. So for example, a player like Luka could have like 10 to 20 different one of one cards in 1 year from the same series, and maybe they're just slight variations. They could be color variations, they could be a different picture, whatever. But when there's 20 one of ones to pick from, which one is the most valuable? We don't know, right? It's just a gimmick that they use, and it's not always the best determiner of value, okay? Also, one of ones can be very, very hard to sell because people are not sure how to value them, okay? So just keep that in mind. So those are the three gimmicks that these companies use: patches, autos, and numbers. And sometimes there'll be individual gimmicks to one card, or sometimes the card will combine multiple versions of these gimmicks, okay? So that's what we're gonna talk about next, how to value these gimmicks. What I've done in my mind is I've created a tier of values for each of these cards, okay? And when you are evaluating these cards, I want you to think about these tiers of value. So tier number one is going to be entry level value. This is going to be like cards from like $100 and below, entry level value, okay? So an example of something that would fall in this category would be like a manufactured patch card, okay? That has very low value, or a card that has a facsimile autograph. Very low value, very entry level, okay? The next step above that is what I call mid tier level. This is gonna be cards from $100 to like $500, okay? So these could be cards that have game use patches. Not game use, these could be player worn patches. These could be cards that have player worn patches. These could be cards that have sticker autos. These could be high numbered cards. They're gonna fall into that mid tier level. Next level above that is gonna be high end value cards. These are gonna be from $500 to, I would say, $5,000, okay? These can be on card autos. These can be game use patches. These can be low numbers, right? Any one of those gimmicks can put a card into that category, all right? And then the fourth tier level above high end is going to be what I call ultra high end. Ultra high end. These are going to be like $5,000 up to whatever, $5 million, okay? Everything else falls into that category. And these are going to be for the ultra high end cards that have game use patches, that have on card autos, that are very low number. They're going to have all the gimmicks rolled into one, right? Okay, so those are the different tier levels that I want you guys to think about and try to memorize, so that when you're evaluating cards, you can kind of see where the card what category that card falls in, okay? Which leads me to my next and final point of this video is how do we value these cards, right? So we know what the tier levels are: entry, mid, high, ultra high. Those are the value tier levels, right? So now we have to determine where the card fits in those tier levels. And unless there's a clear comp, the way that you can do that is to have a checklist in your mind of all these gimmicks, okay? Have a whole checklist of them. And the more, generally speaking, the more boxes that can be checked off on this checklist from a card will determine which tier value it goes, okay? So for example, if we just have a manufactured patch card, all right? Check. That's all it is. It goes into the entry level, okay? If we have a player worn card that has a sticker auto, 2 checks, okay? It will go into the mid-tier level. If we have a game used on-card auto, then it goes into the, and then it's numbered, okay? Then it goes into maybe the high-end level, all right? If we have an on-card, low number, game used patch, then it checks more boxes, then maybe it goes into the ultra high level. Okay guys, that's the way that I want you guys to think about it. Look at the card, how many boxes does this card check, and the more boxes it checks, the higher tier level of the value that it will go into, all right? And it's basically that simple, right? And you know, with some of these gimmicks like the patches, if it's game used, that's the highest tier it can get. If it's an on-card auto, that's the highest tier it can get. But really, the distinction comes in the numbers. All right, higher the number brings down the value. The lower the number series, the higher the tier value that it can go up to. Okay, guys. So think about that. And then if you get yourself into a situation where you have multiple cards that all check the same boxes, the next determining factor is going to be very subjective, but people do take it into account, is going to be the eye appeal of the card. Is it like kind of a poorly designed card, or is it a nice, clean, good-looking card? Eye appeal does matter where there's equal footing between all the cards. So if all the cards are equal, they all check all the same boxes, then you go with eye appeal. What you think is the best looking card of the bunch, that's the one that you go after. Okay, guys? Okay, so that's pretty much the video today. I think I've covered everything. I don't need to recap it because I think that I was pretty clear about that. If you guys have any follow-up questions, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I will try to respond and interact with you guys as much as I can in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, please watch my giveaway video so that you can enter that contest. And if you've already entered, please participate by liking other people's comments, okay? Remember, I need there to be some type of gap between all the people that have commented so that I can pick 10 of the comments that have the most likes so that I can send out those Christmas care packages to you guys, okay? So please participate in that giveaway contest. It's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.